All right, so we are going to finish up our unit on exponential and logarithmic functions with figuring out how is it that we write and create these functions in the first place. How do I figure out what is an exponential function? What's a power function? Really, what's the difference between the two? So now we're going to see a couple of examples. This is actually a pretty short lesson on exponential functions. All right, in your textbook, you'll see some examples on word problems dealing with scooters, wingspan, scooter speed, I think it is, wingspans, and business applications. Some of these word problems we're going to need to work through as a class. I'll give you an example when we meet next as an entire group. All right, our first example is writing an exponential function. So the important thing here to recognize is what makes it an exponential function. The form, the basic form is y is equal to a, b, x. A, b to the x. Notice that x is the exponent. That's why it's an exponential function. Well, if you have 2 points, well, sometimes when you have 2 points, you can figure out a linear equation, figure out the slope and plug it in, and you find, the linear form. So if we want to find an exponential equation, we do a similar feature. We're going to take both of these points and plug them into the formula and solve for a and b. So, step 1, take point 1, so substitute in 6 for y and 1 for b. Take the second point, substitute in, not b, x, substitute in 18 for y and 2 for x. And what we want to do is we want to get a by itself. It's easier to work with the first one because it has the smaller numbers. So let's isolate a. We're going to solve for a. B to the first, of course, being just b. So a is equal to 6 divided by b. Then we're going to take that. So step 1 was to create these equations. Step 2, solve for a. And substitute it into the second equation. Hopefully you've worked with solving a system of equations before. This is the same idea. Okay, so now I have 6 over b times b squared. Well, of course, if we're multiplying fractions, we have b squared over b, we can cross reduce. So now, that gives us 18 is equal to 6b. Divide by 6, b is equal to 3. If you know what b is, you can figure out what a is. So 6 divided by 3 is equal to 2. Hey, we need to write a function. X and y needs to be x and y because that's when we plug in our x to get our y. We just need to substitute in the a and b. So y is equal to a times b to the x power. That's our function. Literally, that is it. That's all we have to do. So go ahead and take a look at that lesson. Pause here if you need to do that. And then we're going to move on to some exercises. Alright, just 3 exercise questions using the same idea but with some different points, so hopefully you'll get some different exponential values there. So pause, work on these as long as it takes. It's going to take a few minutes for each question, and then when you're ready, hit play to get the answers. Alright, here are the 3 answers to get your values. Start with the ones you have questions about. Example 2. How to write a power function. So the big key is recognizing when is it a power function. Well, a power function means x is in the base and it's going to be raised to a specific b value. A specific value. So that's not variable. Whatever is being raised to that value is what's the variable. We're going to do the same process of plugging in the points and setting up our system of equations. So step 1, 1 is equal to a times 2 to the b value, to the b power I mean. And then our second one is 3 is equal to a times 4 to the b power. Solve for a again, so the first line gives us easier numbers to work with. So a is going to be equal to 1 1 divided by 2 to the b power. Plug that into our line, so 3 is equal to 1 over 2 to the b power times 4 to the b power. Now, in order to be able to combine exponents, our bases have to be the same. Right now, they're not the same. So take 4 to the b power and rewrite it as 2 squared to the b power, which of course is 2 to the 2b. So 3 is equal to 2 to the 2b over 2 to the 1b. Now we have bases that are the same, so we can subtract the exponents. 2b minus 1b is 1b. So 3 is equal to 2 to the b power. Well, that's a logarithmic function. So 2 log of 2 base, log base 2 of 3 is equal to b. So log 3 divided by log 2 gives us approximately 1.58. So now we know what b is equal to. We can plug that back into a. So 1 divided by 2 to the 1.58, and that is equal to approximately 33 hundredths. So if I know my a and I know my b, I have my function. Y is equal to 0.33 times x to the 1.58. And there we go. Now there are some other examples of what we do with this in real life application, but this at least gets you started on it. So writing an exponential function versus a power function and the differences between the two. The processes are the same, but where do we put those numbers? That's what's different about it. So you got to know your vocabulary a little bit. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at our exercise questions for example 2. So here are the 3 questions. Again, same thing as before. Figure out what the function is for those 3 sets of points. When you're ready, press play to move on to the answers. All right, and here are our final answers. So I'll circle the ones you have questions about, and we'll make sure to cover them in class.